I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen preparing a dish that's kind of old and kind of new. It's called Eggplant Modo Mio. Modo Mio, that's my way. You're gonna love it. It's an old take on a Sicilian, Arab, Mediterranean influenced dish that I think you're just gonna love. Let's get started here. So a beautiful eggplant. We're just gonna cut this right down the middle here. And what's so unique about this, the ingredients that I put in here. And come on, they're simple ingredients, but guess what? You're gonna love it because why? Well, I do something a little bit different. I'm using the raisins and I'm making a stuffing out of this. Now, look how I cut this. I have this just cut in half, but also I cut this one a little bit bigger because I don't want my boat to be so big. So on one side, I'm just gonna cut this down here and take out some of that eggplants and still use that in my filling. Oh, the filling is so delicious, so easy to prepare. So, doesn't look like nothing yet really hard to do here. A little olive oil in our pan to start with. And of course, we're gonna scoop out the eggplant. And you can do this, you can just get a knife, cut it like this here, leave about, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch or so border. And then my little trick here, I just go like this here and start cutting right into the eggplant and kind of make sure I get all the way to, and then cut it in half again. And it's a lot easier to scoop out. It's just a little trick here. Now watch this. Put this right into our pan. They just fall right out. How about that? And so also it's a little, the pieces are a little more square for you to work with. And I always just watch my nana prepare this and kind of turn it into my own recipe. Now, they would put other ingredients in here, so that's up to you also. But that's about how much you want to take out of that eggplant. Maybe a little more just right down here. And it's all going to be combined when it cooks, so we're good with that. Now, we don't want to waste anything, and I love the skin. I still think of stories with my mama when I made eggplant parmesan or something. And, you know, I cook for 100 people at a time some nights, and it's a little more than cooking at home for 4 or 5. So I always used to leave the skin on, and every time my mom would say, "Why is there skin on?" "Mama, you know, come on." I said, "It's not, first of all, I don't want to peel 25 eggplants. And number two, it kind of keeps the eggplants together a little bit. So it kind of holds everything together, is what I'm trying to say." All right, we'll do this one more time on this half while that's sauteing. And it really is easy. So you're not doing anything that's difficult. Making these little squares here, cutting around the edge to leave that intact. And that's really about it. Now also, I'm going to add the tomatoes. Kind of unique. But then again, you know, we use a lot of tomatoes in Italian cooking. But if you think about it, we didn't have tomatoes in Italian cooking until Columbus discovered America and brought the tomato back. So what do we use? Well, we made dishes like this, but we did it with broth, brodo, vegetable purees, lots of herbs. The tomatoes didn't come in until later on, and then really they were afraid to cook with the tomatoes. Why were they afraid to cook with the tomatoes? Were they from the nightshade family? They didn't know if it was good for you or not. So we have our two nice little boats. Now, come on, you must remember this. Eggplant, of all the vegetables, guess what? It's a sponge. It soaks up the oil. Be a little careful with that because you're going to need more oil, number one. But then you're going to think, oh my God, I got so much oil. And then what happens? It kind of starts coming out of it after it cools down. That's okay. You really can't put too much oil in there. But I'm not talking about cups of oil. Now, I do like to season this just a little bit because what happens right now with the salt draws some of that water out of that eggplant. And believe me, this cooks fairly quickly. In the meantime, while that's just sauteing, very, very simple, a beautiful tomato. I love my vine ripened tomatoes. If it's summertime, go ahead, use a tomato that's like heirlooms and different colors. It doesn't matter. And I don't chop these really fine, but you know, some nice little chunks because they're also going to cook down. And that's kind of what we want. We want the tomato to cook down a little bit, but still have a little bit of the body of the tomato in here. So there we are. Don't worry about some of that little white heart of the tomato there. We're still good with that. And once this goes in there, now we get a little more juice in there. This starts cooking down even quicker. And then I may even add a little more salt as we're cooking, but we'll see as we go along how my my liquid factor and water ratio that's coming off those eggplants really comes out. But that eggplant, in less than, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes now, the eggplant is really cooking, and that's just what we're looking for. So we have our eggplant, we have our tomato, and of course, we'll cook this down. We're going to add the raisins later on. Raisins, currants, I love them all. Come on. There we go. Now, I've given you a base. I'm giving you my ingredients that I like to use, but be creative. If you want to add something else, you know, different herbs, you can do that also. And we really don't want to overcook this too much in the pan because we're going to bake this also. But you do want to make sure the eggplant is 90% cooked this way. All right. Just give that a few toss and turns here. Make sure nothing's sticking to the pan, which it's not. At this point, let's add our raisins. Looks like a lot of raisins, but it's not, believe me. A little bit of garlic powder, onion powder. I like either one. A little more salt. And some fresh garlic, that's right. So onion powder, a little bit of garlic. And if you know me and my cooking, I kind of want to bite into the garlic. I'm not hiding the garlic at all. So just a few chops, especially when I'm sauteing. This way it doesn't burn. We like that a lot. Now, if we're cooking Mediterranean, if we're cooking Sicilian style, a lot of times you'll see recipes with a little bit of vinegar in the eggplant. Well, what do we call that? Well, it's kind of agrodolce. It's sweet and it's sour. And a lot of dishes like the caponata, ratatouille in French, that's the way we make those recipes. So add a little bit of vinegar if you like to right now. Here we go. Oh, the smell in this kitchen right now. Just amazing. All right. Really, we're getting close to adding everything else. I have a nice little pan prepared for me. We'll put our eggplant just like this here. I'm going to get a little bit of olive oil inside here and kind of brush this a little bit. And I don't waste that oil at all. I even brush the outside. Nice shiny texture there, just like this. That's all there is to it. There we go. At this point, again, keep that mixture going there. I think we're about ready to transfer this to a mixing bowl. Add the rest of our ingredients. I'm telling you, less than really maybe 8 minutes or so, and you have a dish that's ready for the oven. All right. This is all together at this point, and it's nice and moist. That's what we're looking for. We may add a little more oil. We may add a little bit of water if we want to, if you want to make it even a little not crispy when it gets to start baking, but I don't know. This is perfect right here, I think. We're going to add our cheese. Oh, and I'm going to leave just a little bit of cheese to put on top. And then I have my fresh herbs. Let's talk about this. I have oregano. I have some basil. Maybe even a little bit of Italian parsley. That doesn't matter. You know me, my basil. And guess what? I don't like to put a knife to basil. Never. Just chop it up with your hands. Come on. That's all. We don't want to bruise it at all. Oh, let me smell this oregano. I don't like dried oregano as much. I use very little dried oregano, but boy, when I have the fresh oregano in the kitchen, I just got back from Sicily, and I'll tell you, a lot more oregano is used in Sicily than I ever thought. Now my breadcrumbs. We'll add half of them and just kind of look at this mixture and see where we're at. Oh yeah, just perfect. And I think it may be just a little dry. So, yeah, I think so. I'm going to add a little oil and just a little bit of pepper. You can add red pepper, black pepper, white pepper. That's up to you. Other herbs that you love, don't be shy. And mix it up, but I don't want to smash it at all like that, but that's about enough. At this point, we're going to put our mixture right inside of this eggplant. Just a few minutes. I have my oven already prepped and preheated, and we're going to start baking this. Doesn't take long. I don't like putting a lot of cheese on top because I don't want a thick crust. I'm not looking for that. And just fill that boat up. Look how nice this looks right here. And I'll tell you another thing, I love my stuffing. So I really can't put too much stuffing in here. I'll fix that up here in just a second. Because we don't want to waste any of that stuffing. Doesn't that look something else? I mean, think about it. You'll even need any meat to serve with this dish. Put a little bit on this side here. That's about it. That's all we need to do at this point. Just a little bit of that cheese, not a lot, like I said. A lot of people like to cover it with much more cheese, but I think this is just going to be perfect, just like this. Now, we'll put this in the oven, we'll bake it, and I'm telling you, this is one dish you're going to want to prepare. Eggplant Modo Mio, my way, or really my family's way. So delicious, easy to prepare. Finish up with just maybe a little oregano, maybe a little basil on top. That's all you're going to, oh, this oregano smells delicious. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get into this. Maybe put a little tomato sauce on the side and serve it. Brush it with a little more oil, but I'm telling you, it's a dish you're going to love, your family will love. You just have to make it. It's something I'm proud to serve my family and friends. Eggplant Modo Mio. Brought to you by Hen House Markets.